Hello, very warm welcome to Sage Savvy, our podcast dedicated to the world of Sage itself. And we've got a special couple of podcasts for you. Me and Tim both went to the Sage HQ down in London, and we were able to go and see them themselves, looking them in the eyes, and we had an in-person podcast about some latest innovations, latest features, and overall some great vibes from the office itself. So you're in for a treat. But before we do that, each and every start of each and every podcast, we shout out our Patreon members. They are Paul Whitehouse, Kirsty St. John, Mahu, and Peter Richardson. They are our coolest of cool listeners who have supported at the highest possible tier out there on Patreon. But if you want to get yourself involved in Patreon, then use the links below. Get over there. You don't have to become a coolest of cool friends. We've got other tiers available to get you bonus content and everything there. Show your support to our channel while also getting some bonus content and an opportunity to be on our cover to the list. Join our Patreon page via the links below. Now, we're going to talk more. I'm going to let us get straight on with it, and we're going to figure out exactly what Sage has to offer going forward. Roll the intro. Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Sage Savvy, part of the Ask the Accountant Network, and we're here in a very cool location. I've heard not just a cool location, but this is a very eco-friendly location. Isn't that all right, Tim?
It is. I don't know much about it because we've been here for 2 hours. But luckily, we have someone with us who does know loads about it. And that someone is Erin Roesch, who is our new best friend from Sage Earth. And I think, hello, Erin, and welcome to your office.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Welcome. I said, when I greeted you guys, I feel like I'm in the presence of glory. I watched your podcast when it launched. It went sort of viral within Sage. And so we're so excited to be here with you guys in what is a sustainable retrofit office. You guys know that we were in the Shard, you know, the beautiful glass tower in the sky. And I was a little bit sad to leave it. I was sad to leave the view. However, it was in line with the direction that we're going, right? Which is we have a net zero commitment here at Sage to do no harm to our planet. We want to power businesses, but we want to do that in a really, really responsible way. And this building was our first step to that as one of the first sustainable retrofits in London.
I love that. And you wouldn't tell. Like, it's so cool, and there's so much like positivity around the place. And sometimes when you think about having to, go down a sustainable route, you feel like sometimes you're having to leave things behind, or you're having to, go through a bit where you're having to compromise on this or compromise on that, right? This does not feel like compromise, does it?
It doesn't at all. It's like, this is a weird example, but a lot of buildings over maybe sort of 10 years ago that were going for more sustainability, they'd say, right, that's it. Okay, you can't open the windows and we don't have aircon, right? It's all air circulation, it's chilled air. And what you actually got then was stuffy, hot, horrible environments to work in. The real answer is, okay, in an office that's got maybe 200 or 300 people in, you probably do need the aircon, but how can you make the aircon work in a sustainable fashion? So from the brief overview of the building we've had so far, which maybe you can tell us a little bit more about, the whole idea of it being a sustainable retrofit is, number one, it is more sustainable generally to retrofit an existing building than to knock it down and build a new one, because concrete is unbelievably carbon intensive, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not just the way it was constructed, but also everything about how it operates, right?
Exactly. We've got any plant that you see that is below sort of head height is actually real throughout our entire office. So we put a lot of intentionality around that. Any art that you see is actually sort of soundproofing. So we try to have things do more than one purpose as you walk around the building. So it's just, we love being here. We're actually one of the first ones to move in. We have a beautiful rooftop view over Tower Bridge. So if you're a Sage customer, let us know. We'd love to kind of start to host some more events. We actually have a sustainability event coming up this summer, which we're very excited about during London Climate Action Week.
I think the view is actually better than the view from the Shard, honestly. Because the view from the Shard was like, because you guys were only on floors like 13 and 17, the view from the Shard was like, yeah, this is cool, but it wasn't like floor 60 breathtaking, oh my God, look how far I can see. it was just, oh cool, I'm a bit high up. And so whilst it's a great view, I think that we've been out on your roof terrace and I thought it was absolutely fabulous. I thought it was much better than the Shard view.
Yeah, and also it's like a little bit, you've heard with New York, isn't it? Sometimes the best view is the Rockefeller as opposed to Empire State Building, because of the Rockefeller you can see the Empire State Building. Well, here we get to see the Shard.
Yeah, we can look at the Shard all the time.
Exactly.
So you've kind of got the best of both worlds,
Yeah.
right? Best of both worlds. Tim, I know you wanted to kind of steer this. We want to talk about a particular product, don't we?
Yeah, so we want to talk about Sage Earth, which now, if people have logged into SPCA recently, will see that it currently is now branded as just Sage Carbon Accounting. So I was hoping you could tell us a bit more, not just about Sage Earth itself, which is a great tool that we're sort of, you know, investigating and doing a bit of work on and using a little bit more, but the more sort of broad, why should accountants and bookkeepers be looking at Sage Earth and various other similar tools? What's the opportunity, and what is it that accountants and bookkeepers can offer their clients and get out of it themselves by starting to look at ESG and carbon accounting and sustainability in general?
Yeah, such a good question. So look, guys, I know that making text digital is sexy right now, right? Like it's all the rage.
It's not the word I would have used.
Right? But it's taking up the airways. It's taking up your thought space as an accountant. But we do need you to look a little bit further into the future. And so what Phil Hobden and I and the sales team and our product teams are talking about is that, look, every year, every month that we tick closer to 2040, 2050, the legislation is heating up, right? There's been a 20x increase in the amount of carbon-related legislation since 1997. And we know, right, like accountants, your job is to keep track of all that stuff and make it super simple for the SMB to both stay compliant, but also to compete, right? The economy is changing. So we know that 1 in 10 SMBs is being asked for carbon data. They're being asked mostly by their value chain, by their customers, their bigger fish.
Yeah, makes sense.
Particularly if they're in an enterprise supply chain or a government supply chain. So those are the hot spots. But we can even kind of drill down into the data a little bit more. It's not just 1 in 10 SMBs. It's, if you're a micro business, about 8% of them are being asked for the data every 12 months. If you are a small business, it's 20%. If you're a medium business, it's 37% of businesses being asked, and it's 51% of our large businesses over 250.
Insane. And they're being asked for carbon data, because I think maybe a lot of people, if they're not in that space, they don't necessarily realise this. People are being asked for carbon data, and if they don't have it and can't provide it, they're not having, this contract is not continuing, right?
Exactly.
They're either not winning the contract, they're not renewing the contract, they're potentially losing a customer because they can't provide. And it used to be, even 5 or 6 years ago, if you were a small or even, you know, to the smaller end of medium business, if part of your supply chain said, hey, can you provide us all your carbon data? You used to be able to say, no, we're too small, we don't really track that. And they would say, okay, yeah, fine, exempt. That's going away now, right?
It's absolutely going away. In fact, the legal documentation and things like the Corporate Social Responsibility Directive, which is a very EU-heavy legislation, I mean, they say it right there. This is going to hit SMBs in the chain. And so they're not being secretive.
Yeah.
And the penalties are going to start at the bigger businesses, and they're just going to keep rolling down and affecting. But really, like, rather than it being a fear thing, which it is going to be, right? You're one letter away in your mailbox or one email away from losing a client because you can't support this. And so that's why Sage is so committed to keeping not only SMBs future fit, but keeping accountants future fit, so that you're ready when that moment strikes. And just like a cool story is, you know, there was an audio and lighting company out of Bristol, less than 50 FTEs, and they were competing for a contract with the Paris Olympics. You would think never would a small business compete for something like that. But because they wanted the Paris Olympics to be a net zero games, guess who won the contract? Tiny little firm in Bristol.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that I think in the accounting and bookkeeping industry, and maybe I'm being naive here, so tell me if I'm wrong, but doesn't it feel like we don't feel like it's our almost responsibility to help our clients on this
You're
one?
so wrong. Oh my goodness.
Well, I
think it's a wake-up call to happen.
Do you know what this is? This is one of those rare points that we come to occasionally where accountants and bookkeepers are different, because I feel like there's a lot more interest in this and a lot more proactivity from bookkeepers than there is from accountants. And the reason behind that is that bookkeepers tend, on average, this is not, this is a blanket statement, right? Bookkeepers tend on average to be much closer to their clients, much closer to their day-to-day. We certainly have clients that we speak to every single day.
Yeah.
Most accountancy practices can't say that. They have clients they might speak to every week or every month, but not daily. And so when there is a service that we can provide that is going to help our clients that is accounting adjacent, right? It's carbon accounting, the clue's in the name, okay? You're just looking after kilos of CO2 instead of pounds sterling, right? As accountants and as bookkeepers, with some additional training, we've already basically got the skills that we need to provide a decent level of carbon accounting for most SMEs, right?
You have the data. It literally is running on what you guys work in, your bread and butter, especially for bookkeepers. You already have the trust of your SMB. They're overwhelmed. They don't know the lingo. And still, so we leverage Sage AI within tools like Sage Earth. So we automate in a single integration. We can do about 80% of the work. But a bookkeeper still needs, when the AI confidence level is too low, they need to go in and kind of train the algorithm, right? To recategorize. So there's about 3 hours of work that's right there for a bookkeeper to do. So you've got the data, you've got the trust, and you also have the scale. You can do this. Like we were talking, right, Tim, about you've got, however many accounting customers, and a click of a button, you can give them, what an emissions footprint would look like for a business like theirs. Just a little teaser to start the conversation.
Yeah, that's one of the sort of main advantages of products like Sage Earth. Are we supposed to call it Sage Earth now or just Sage Carbon Accounting? I'm never sure.
It's fine. It's Sage Earth Carbon Accounting, right?
Okay, fine.
But for simplicity, we call it carbon accounting in our when you're dealing in a big suite.
Yeah.
Fine. I think being able to use tools like that, it's already familiar to us, right? So you don't actually really have to learn anything, really, to be able to.
Yeah.
Like Millie, who works for us, has done obviously some training on this. And I think that's massively worthwhile, and I'd recommend it to anyone that's interested in it. But in the meantime, you can just dip into Sage Earth and see what it looks like and mess around with it, and you'll actually probably come up with a relatively decent first draft of what their data is going to look like,
And
right?
it's
Because
totally
it's that easy.
free for accountants. So like inside of Sage for Accountants, go in and start your own footprint on your own thing, right? Try before you buy. And I really want to double click on that Millie point, because I've been working a little bit with Millie, and we're seeing a next generation of bookkeepers and accountants. What they're looking for and what they want to be in this industry is different. They want to be bilingual. We know that particularly like Gen Z, the next wave of accountants need to want to speak carbon and financials.
Yeah.
It's like 75% of Gen Zs care about, and they're going to care in your firms about what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's very true. And this is such a huge opportunity for so many accountants and bookkeepers, because it's such a huge opportunity in general, right? And if we don't all get on board with this, it's going to go elsewhere, and you're going to have a load of carbon accounting only firms that are going to spring up. And then guess what? We're going to have to do half the work anyway, because we're going to have to provide them with the data.
Exactly.
So this is why people like, especially like, the next generation of bookkeepers and accountants are absolutely perfectly placed for this. And they're the ones that are leading this already.
Yeah. And I mean, let's just talk hard numbers here too, right? So like you said, the business is going to go somewhere. We know that a small business would pay about £5,000 per year for a carbon footprint. Now, if they're not coming to you, they're just going to go to a sustainability consultant, and they're going to pay that anyway. You can probably beat them on price, right? You've automated the workflow. You can scale that really easily, and it will save. So like our AI will save about 300 hours of manual work. And we know, because we have climate scientists in-house who write our methodology and who used to do it by hand. But they said we couldn't scale ourselves. There was not enough consultants. So we built the AI to do it for you faster.
So then, having mentioned the AI a couple of times, awkward question time, because we all know that one of the main bits of news around AI and sustainability is that AI is going to drink all our water and consume all our electricity and heat the planet up faster than it's ever been heated up before. So how then does a product that's aiming to promote sustainability reconcile with, I used the word reconcile, I told you I'd get it in there somewhere. How does that reconcile with the harm that AI is potentially doing to all of us?
Well, I think the thing you have to realize is that AI will have risks, and it'll also bring significant efficiencies. And so at Sage, we're looking really, really hard at those trade-offs. And in the grand balance of things, right? So we talked about being a sustainable retrofit in our net zero commitments. So we are taking hard looks at our own code as an example. And how can we potentially use AI to actually write more efficient code? Because doing it fully manual, fully human is actually worse, will consume more resources. And so we have a whole environmental, social, and governance team, ESG team, who is pumping out papers on this topic. They're speaking to our board about it. And so definitely we're at the forefront of thought leadership there.
Love that. And I think as well, like, you seem to have, because this was an acquisition, right? This was, how long ago was it, roughly?
It was started in 2020. It was award-winning, went through Tech Nations as a spin-up. We bought it in 2021.
2021, excellent. So relatively new in the grand scheme of things of everything. But what I'm seeing and what I'm really kind of excited about here is that, A, you've already taken into account the AI questions and everything like that, which is great, right? Like there's already forward thinking of there. But B, what I feel like what Sage have done really well and always excelled at is that training aspect that you've already kind of brought on. Because this is part of the biggest problem you've got is getting the industry to take notice, isn't it? It's that they don't know there's a problem coming through from it. But I feel like you guys are the best place in terms of delivering that training on the road shows that you do, on all the events that you turn up to, on the webinars that are constantly going out. We were just talking today about how Chris has literally got he's doing content after content, right? So I feel like you guys have got kind of that ecosystem to support this change as well.
Oh, 100%. We've got a CPD accredited course actually for accountants, totally free, to just kind of upskill you. And I would really say, so I was talking to an actually top 25 firm about their ESG advisory and how they're expanding it. And hint to those listening, if the top 25 firms are doing it, you should be leaning in here. They're on to something. So I was talking to a firm that actually has 500 ESG advisors that they're training up. And guess who they're doing it with? Grads. They're sending them through a 500-pound carbon accounting course, and then they're just deploying an army, a next generation. And so imagine if every small or mid-sized firm just gets on that bandwagon. Every new grad you hire, every new apprentice, everybody, send them through our free CPD accreditation. Also, right within the product, we've got live chat support, and literally, I know them, they sit next to me, who will answer they'll hop on a call, they'll get you hooked up. That's just what we love at Sage. We're very, very human.
Yeah. And I think you've really put on a point there about the grads and everything I'm going through, and what Tim was saying as well. We're not going to be able to attract the people into our industry, are we? We're not talking not just pounds and
no.
But
the sort of traditional route of hey, you can go and do an accounting degree, and then you can do ICAW qualifications, and then you can do audit for 3 years, and then maybe if you're lucky, we'll let you do some actual work.
Yeah, and speak to a client maybe.
Not that, just in case Amy Hancock's watching, I don't think audit is an actual work. But that was all the traditional route, right? You spent 3 years only doing audit prep.
Yeah.
And then you decided, okay, am I going to do tax? Am I going to do audit? Am I going to do... Well, now, a lot of people might end up actually doing a lot of the carbon accounting and the ESG services full time. That can be their main job. They're not going to do a finance degree and an ACA qualification and in order to get to that, right? Because number one, they don't need to, and number two, that's not attractive to anyone anymore. And also, I've seen some really impactful work from they're not going to forgive me for saying this, but the slightly older generation as well. So big names that we all know, right? Catherine Frimond, Penny Allard, okay? They've been talking about this for years already.
Yeah.
And now suddenly we're all starting to catch on, and we're like, oh my God, they're totally right. And we do need to be involved in this.
Yeah, you can't bury your head in the sand on this. And I think we see the big names doing it. And what they're reporting anecdotally is about a 20% uplift in ARR when they start to add this to their portfolio of services. One accountant told me it's been the difference of 80 to 100 grand per year in the revenue that's coming in. So if you want to sleep on the opportunity, by all means, those listening. But I just wouldn't wait. This is similar to AI, right? You want to be an early adopter. You want to be leaning in. You're definitely doing that, Tim. And so we just want to encourage anybody listening to don't wait.
And I wonder if we're going to learn from past mistakes as accountants and bookkeepers as well. Because how long did it take us to go, right, we've been doing all of this compliance work, so we file the VAT returns, we file the tax return. All this advisory section as well we might want to start playing around with. How long is it going to take when the penny drops that, okay, there's this compliance section of the Sage Earth and everything else and the reporting side of things, but actually isn't the most rewarding side of all this going to be that advisory section? And that's going to come with time, right?
It's the, okay, how, like, this is your carbon impact, right? How can we help you reduce it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Some of it's going to be obvious, right? There's all the easy wins, right? Don't leave the heating on when you're not in, turn the lights off, etc., etc. But there's the more complex stuff as well. Like, can you source products more locally? Okay, can you travel less? Can you walk more? All those sorts of things. And it's not to try and force people to change their lifestyle or their business lifestyle in a way that they don't want to. It's just to get people to consider that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we build that into the product, right? Because we don't just want you to measure, we actually want you to reduce. Yeah. And so we got lots in the pipeline about how we can keep helping you do that more. We also have something called the Net Zero Hub, which is totally available on the web for anybody. And we've got sort of like YouTube shorts, we've got courses and master classes, and some blogs from our climate scientists that are even verticalized around like, well, what could you do? It might not be as obvious as you think. If you're a tech company, it's your data warehousing. It's not just your lights, right? And so those little tricks of how to make a plan.
And I think the one thing that and this is, I'm going to look directly into a camera and say this because this is a warning. Let's not all start a race to the bottom on pricing for this for a change, right?
Yeah,
Let's all learn how to price it properly. This is not payroll for £2.50 per employee per month. This is a valuable service. And people need to not be afraid to price it accordingly, because if you don't price it accordingly, someone else will price it appropriately, and they're going to get the business because they're going to be the one that the clients ultimately trust.
A note on that. So I was talking to another like really top firm. They were telling me about a 5-day project. They're charging about 10 grand for that. I'm not sure in the grand scheme of accounting.
I'm not sure we can do that, but you know.
I'm just saying that's not shabby, right?
No.
And so I'm doing some pricing research right now on Sage Earth. And we're doing that in our Sage 50 base. And the early results are coming back that there's a stronger willingness to pay than even we realized. Because I think if you price it too low, people don't trust it.
Exactly.
They think this is basically just a free tool. And there's so much depth. I mean, we literally keep science climate experts on staff. Our methodology is third-party verified and credentialed. And so you don't want to charge peanuts for that because there's gone so much tech. It is so compliance heavy. It takes our engineers about 6 months just to sort of onboard, understand they can't make a mistake when it comes to these sort of, we call them scopes 1, 2, and 3 of how the carbon is organized. To keep you truly greenhouse gas protocol compliant, it's not simple. Don't underprice it.
Awesome. And I think the cool thing is that there's an ecosystem with a pricing tool in Sage, I heard.
Yeah, there's some pricing that you can do in Sage somewhere. But like I think that this is one of the things, like we've mentioned it briefly before. I think that there does need to be like guidance on pricing for this, and I think that's clearly coming, and a lot of people are coming to the same conclusion roughly about what it should be. But it'll be interesting to see how this develops over the next like 6 months or so, right?
Hopefully by Accountex, we're actually going to have, we interviewed 15 different firms, sort of 5 different pricing models. So hopefully that will be helpful.
And I did notice at the last Accountex, because we did our grid walk, and you had like an activation zone for Sage.
Yes. We'll be there again. Yeah. Just you wait.
Loving that. So talk us briefly, what's the activation zone for? What are you trying to get out of it?
So this year we're sponsoring the Sustainability Zone at Accountex. It's sort of like a tree theme, so I think it's going to be really cool if all goes according to plan. On the walls, we're actually going to have sort of case studies of real accountants that are doing this, and I believe it's about 15 of them that are actually going to be manning the stand over the course of 2 days.
Love that.
And telling their story and asking questions. So if you're at Accountex, come and like talk to real people.
Yeah, to be able to actually speak to other like other people who have done already what you're trying to do, that's quite a rare opportunity at something like Accountex.
Exactly. And then we're going to have 2 different speaking occasions. We're going to have somebody on the demo stand actually showing what Sage Earth does. What does it feel like? How does it look? And then I and my colleague Conrad are going to be doing the how to price.
Nice.
It's the business case. We'll go into the nitty gritty of that.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Are you excited about Sage Earth now?
Have I converted you?
You should be.
And we need to make sure we get the grid walk too.
So Erin is going to have to feature on the grid walk. So
woohoo! I don't even know what that means, but I'm excited.
Basically, day 1 at Accountex, you got to be there half an hour early, and day 2, double grid walk.
We go round the whole of Accountex with a camera before it opens. See the fear in the eyes of a vendor before those doors open. Do you know what I mean? Martin Brundle, Formula One, we've copied his idea and we go around there. So yeah, we definitely need to get over to Sage, and especially to the Sage sustainability zone.
And you'll find them easily, I'm sure, because they're always an absolutely massive wham stand these days.
Yeah.
That's true. And that was where I first met you, Tim. It was like a celebrity sighting. I was like, oh, there it goes. So don't worry. We definitely want to pull you in as well, maybe on the stand, to tell your story a little bit about like what Millie's been up to, what it's been like from an accounting perspective.
I have to ask Millie if she wants to do that. But we don't know when this podcast is going out, so it might have already happened by then.
Oh,
but
that's
I think
true.
it should be out for
We'll
account
make
text.
sure. We'll make sure.
But yeah, I'm really excited about like the carbon accounting stuff in general. I think is fascinating, and thanks for coming to talk to us about it.
Oh, well, thank you guys. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Curveball questions.
You can do a curveball, but then afterwards we'll let you do a plug. So curveball first, then plug. Go.
Right. I forgot to ask Downing this as well, so we need to go back and re-record. What's your favourite biscuit?
Oh, I'm American, so what do you mean by biscuit?
Oh. I mean what you would
Curveball for
call
a curveball.
cookies.
Oh, cookies. Okay, easy. The triple chocolate cookies from Co-op. Have you ever had these?
Yeah.
Oh, they're like Belgian chocolate with white and milk. I'm an absolute chocoholic.
Solid choice.
But you got to put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds.
Say, is it or is it dipping?
No, you got to do the microwave because then like all the chocolate is just gooey.
Yeah, it's like
Eat it with
gooey.
a spoon.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Okay.
Absolutely stunning.
And you having anything with this cookie, or is it just by itself?
Just by itself.
Okay.
And they come in a pack of 5 as well,
They
don't
do.
they?
Well, see, you know what I'm talking
I
about.
know exactly the ones you mean. I know exactly the ones. There you go. Right, so you have now that camera there.
Okay.
Plug.
Plug. So, Sage Carbon Accounting, absolutely free. Already in Sage for Accountants. So go in, get your carbon footprint for your business, attach an industry average footprint to that client pack, and start the conversation today. Seriously, you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. It's where the annual growth is going to be, and you don't want to miss it.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for coming along. Thank you for, again, as Tim said, inviting us to your office. It feels weird as having to say that.
It does. It does.
to the
Net zero most sustainable retrofit in London.
Yeah. That was the one. Thank you. You've saved me on that one. Thank you very much. It's been absolutely brilliant. It's definitely been insightful for me because when it was first announced that Sage was acquiring this Sage Earth, I was like, cool. And that was it. That was just that's a nice one. But now we've had the opportunity to kind of, it's definitely been an eye-opener for me. So thank you very much.
Yeah. You guys are the future. 60% of the people that are going into Sage Earth are accountants.
And that's what we want. Yeah.
There you go.
And bookkeepers as well.
And bookkeepers, absolutely.
You've got to remember the and bookkeepers.
And bookkeepers, yeah. Let's be honest, bookkeepers do the heavy lifting.
Oh, yeah. I'm being told this day in, day out. And there we have it. There's another exciting episode of Sage Savvy. Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Tim. And that's it.
Thank you, Aaron.
Well, thank you. And we will see you all in the next one. Remember to like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. If you want more information about the world of accounting, you're in the right place to like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye
Bye for now.